They never taught you this in school, that your sexual energy is the most potent force you carry, not just for pleasure, but for power, clarity, and spiritual evolution. Have you ever wondered why, after certain desires are satisfied, you feel drained instead of empowered? Why the same energy that brings ecstasy can also bring confusion, guilt, or emotional chaos? That's because sexual energy isn't just physical, it's creative fuel, and if you're not in control of it, someone or something else is. This energy can build nations, or destroy your inner peace. It can birth new realities, or trap you in endless cycles of craving and depletion. So the real question is, are you mastering your energy, or leaking your power without even realizing it? In this video, we won't just talk about the theory. You'll get grounded, practical steps to begin reclaiming your sexual force, to transmute it, circulate it, and channel it toward the life you're meant to create. Because your energy was never meant to be wasted, it was meant to rise, ready to begin the path of energetic sovereignty. Sexual energy is not just about desire. It is the raw essence of life itself. It is the current that births stars, the pulse that animates your body, the drive behind creation, intuition, and deep connection. But in today's world, this sacred power has been distorted, commodified, and misunderstood. Have you ever felt a deep, instinctive knowing that your sexual energy is meant for more than just temporary pleasure? That it holds a spiritual significance you were never taught to explore? From a young age, many are taught to suppress or misuse their sexual energy. Some are told to be ashamed of it. Others are encouraged to indulge in it recklessly, without any understanding of its spiritual consequences. But very few are taught the truth, that this energy is neither good nor bad. It is powerful, and power must be respected, directed, and aligned with intention. So what happens when this power goes unmastered? It leaks. It disperses. It gets entangled in addictions, distractions, emotional chaos, and relationships that dim your light instead of igniting it. And the result? You feel disconnected from yourself. Your intuition becomes muffled, your creativity dulls, and your sense of divine purpose weakens. Have you ever noticed that after indulging in unconscious sexual habits, whether through overconsumption of explicit content or unaligned encounters, your body and spirit feel less alive? That your motivation fades, your focus drops, and you sense an energetic fog clouding your inner clarity? This is not coincidence. It is the result of sacred life force energy being expelled without intention. And your body knows it. Sexual energy is sacred because it is creative. Every orgasm, every sexual impulse is a signal that your body is generating an immense charge of creative fuel. But the question is, what are you doing with it? Are you simply releasing it outward? Or are you learning how to hold it, circulate it, and transform it into insight, magnetism, and manifestation? Many spiritual traditions have long understood that sexual energy is one of the fastest ways to alter consciousness, not through suppression, but through transmutation. The ancient yogis called it ojas. The Taoists mastered it through Jing. The mystics referred to it as the sacred fire. And all of them knew, when cultivated with reverence, this energy becomes a bridge between body and spirit, earth and source. But that path begins with awareness. Are you paying attention to your urges and patterns, or are you acting on autopilot? Can you begin to notice how sexual energy rises in your body, where it gets stuck, where it flows freely, and how it influences your decisions? This is where control begins, not through shame, but through conscious witnessing. True sexual energy control doesn't mean repression. It means sovereignty. It means being so attuned to your body, so clear in your intention, that you can choose how, when, and why you channel this energy, whether through intimacy, creativity, healing, or spiritual practice. It means knowing that your sexual energy is not a distraction from your path. It is the path, when used with awareness. Imagine what becomes possible when you no longer fear or misuse this power. when you learn to hold it with confidence, to direct it like a sacred current, and to embody it without leaking it. Your intuition sharpens, your presence deepens, your ability to magnetize what you desire strengthens, and most of all, you begin to remember that your body is not separate from your spirit. It is the vessel for divine intelligence in motion. So the first step is simple, but profound. Begin to see your sexual energy as sacred, not just sensual. Begin to treat it like the creative fire it is, something holy, something potent, something far too valuable to waste. And in doing so, you begin the process of reclamation, not from the outside world, but from within yourself. What is sexual energy control and why it matters? Sexual energy control is not about suppression. It's about mastery. It's the conscious ability to feel, hold, and direct your sexual life force energy without being consumed or controlled by it. But let's get one thing clear from the start. Sexual energy is not just for sex. It is your creative charge, your magnetism, your intuitive fire, your inner drive to expand, to express, and to evolve. So why do so many people waste it unconsciously? Think about how often society pushes instant gratification. Whether it's pornography, casual hookups, overstimulation from media, or emotional codependency disguised as intimacy, we are constantly encouraged to release energy instead of build it. Have you ever asked yourself, where is this energy going? What am I creating with it? How do I feel after I've given it away? When you don't control your sexual energy, it controls you. Your focus scatters, your motivation weakens. You find yourself chasing temporary highs instead of embodying lasting purpose. But when you begin to hold that energy, something shifts. You start to feel a growing inner strength, a new vitality, a deeper connection to your intuition and vision. And that's when you realize, this energy isn't meant to be leaked, it's meant to be channeled. So what exactly does it mean to control this energy? It means becoming aware of how it rises in you, the sensations, the thoughts, the emotional charge. Can you feel your arousal or desire without instantly acting on it? Can you sit with that intensity and redirect it towards something creative, spiritual, or healing? That's control, not through resistance, but through choice. Sexual energy control also means knowing how to circulate that energy throughout your body, rather than letting it pool only in the lower chakras. Through breath, movement, intention, and focus, you can move that charge upward into your heart, your throat, your third eye, awakening higher states of being. Have you ever felt a wave of sexual energy rise into your chest or crown during meditation or deep presence? That's the beginning of transmutation. But why does this matter? Because every time you channel your sexual energy with intention, you strengthen your magnetic field. You become more vibrant, more focused, more alive. You begin to attract experiences, people, and opportunities that reflect your elevated frequency. You stop chasing and start drawing in. This energy is also deeply healing. Many emotional wounds, especially those around love, shame, and worth, are stored in the same energetic centers as your sexual energy. When you learn to work with this energy consciously, you begin to clear trauma, release blockages, and open new layers of your being that were hidden beneath repression or overindulgence. Have you noticed how sexual wounds can echo through your relationships and self-image? This is your body asking for deeper attention, not just physical release. Sexual energy control also fosters discipline, a sacred kind of self-respect that brings clarity, confidence, and inner peace. You stop giving your energy to what drains you. You stop letting your impulses lead you into confusion. Instead, you cultivate a quiet strength, a grounded presence, and a luminous aura that others can feel without you saying a word. And let's be honest, there's something powerful about being in full command of your energy, not hiding it, not flaunting it, but owning it with grace. Have you ever been around someone who wasn't trying to be seductive, but radiated undeniable magnetism? That's the power of contained energy. It amplifies your presence and draws people in, not because you're doing anything, but because you're being something rare, fully charged, fully conscious, fully aligned. So ask yourself, how much of your energy are you giving away without realizing it? What could you build in your life, your purpose, your spiritual path, if you reclaimed that energy and began to master it? Sexual energy control is not just about better intimacy. It's about becoming more you, more present, more alive, more capable of shaping your reality from a place of power rather than lack. And in a world constantly trying to drain your energy, your control over it becomes your liberation. Before you can transform your sexual energy, you must first become aware of it. And this awareness doesn't begin in the act itself. It begins in the impulse, that moment of spark, that subtle craving, that wave of desire that arises without warning. Most people never question it. They either suppress it or satisfy it. But what if you simply observed it? This is the first step toward mastering your sexual energy. Awareness without reaction. Your sexual impulse is not just a physical urge. It's a signal, a movement of energy, an invitation to look deeper. What triggered it? Was it visual, emotional, boredom, loneliness? Was it love, or was it escape? These are powerful questions, and most people never ask them. But when you begin to bring consciousness to your impulses, everything starts to shift. Have you ever stopped in the middle of a rising desire and simply noticed what your mind is doing? The thoughts, the images, the expectations, they all move fast, almost like a program trying to take over. But if you pause, just for a moment, you'll feel something incredible, the space between stimulus and action. And in that space, you have power. You don't have to act. You don't have to suppress. You can just observe. This is not about shame. It's not about denying your nature. It's about claiming your ability to respond rather than react. Because the truth is, most people are being led by their sexual impulses without realizing it. These impulses drive their choices, their relationships, their self-worth. And when left unchecked, they create patterns of dependency and disempowerment. By developing awareness, you begin to interrupt these unconscious loops. You start to notice how your body responds to subtle stimuli, how your mind creates fantasy, how emotional needs disguise themselves as physical cravings. This awareness is liberating, not because it stops the energy, but because it gives you access to it without being overwhelmed by it. Think of it like fire. If you light a fire without knowing how to tend it, it can burn out of control or disappear too quickly. But if you learn how to sit by it, observe it, feed it properly, it becomes warmth, power, and light. Your sexual energy works the same way. Developing awareness also builds your inner strength. Each time you choose to feel the energy without indulging or repressing it, you grow stronger. You build a kind of energetic muscle, one that allows you to hold more charge, more clarity, more creativity. And over time, you'll notice something amazing. Your energy is no longer controlling you. You are guiding it. Ask yourself honestly, how often do I feel my sexual energy and immediately try to do something with it? What if I just allowed it to exist, to breathe, to move through me without needing to act on it? This simple shift from reaction to presence is where all power begins. As you practice this, you'll start to see patterns. Maybe certain emotions trigger your impulses: frustration, insecurity, stress. Maybe certain times of day or environments or people activate your desire. This isn't random. Your energy is trying to communicate something. And when you become the observer, you become the interpreter of your own system. This is where self-mastery begins. You're no longer a slave to impulse, nor are you running from your own energy. You're sitting in the fire, eyes open, heart steady, learning how to hold it. Remember, awareness doesn't mean suppression. It means space. It means learning to be with yourself, your sensations, your cravings, without judgment. And in that stillness, you will begin to sense a deeper truth. Your sexual energy is not something to be feared or wasted. It's something to be listened to, understood, and eventually channeled. This is the first door. Walk through it, and everything changes. One of the most ancient and effective techniques for mastering sexual energy begins with the breath. While desire usually rises in the lower centers of the body, breath allows you to move that energy, to circulate it instead of letting it get stuck or spilled. Breath becomes the bridge between raw desire and spiritual refinement. Sexual energy, when not expressed physically, doesn't need to be suppressed. It can be transmuted. And the first key to that transmutation is learning how to direct it with awareness, using your breath as the tool. Have you ever noticed how shallow your breathing becomes when you're aroused, anxious, or distracted? Most people breathe from the chest when in a state of desire or stress, which keeps energy trapped in the lower centers. But deep conscious breathing allows you to pull that energy upward through the body's energy channels, toward the heart, the throat, the mind, even higher. This is not some mystical idea. It's rooted in how your nervous system functions. Deep diaphragmatic breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the state of calm, presence, and regeneration. It slows down the reactive mind and opens space for awareness. In this space, you begin to feel the energy not just as arousal, but as life force. Here's a simple foundational breathwork practice. 1. Sit upright with your spine straight. Close your eyes and relax your shoulders. 2. Begin by inhaling slowly through the nose for a count of 4, allowing the breath to expand the belly, then the chest. 3. Hold the breath at the top for a count of 4. As you hold, imagine energy rising up the spine, from the base of your body, up toward your heart or third eye. 4. Exhale gently through the mouth for a count of 6, imagining the energy settling and expanding through your upper centers. 5. Repeat this cycle 10 to 20 times, focusing only on the breath and the sensation of energy movement. This practice alone, done consistently, can shift your relationship to sexual energy completely. Instead of being pulled down and outward, you begin to draw the energy up and inward, turning it into vitality, focus, and inner clarity. Have you ever felt drained after giving into an impulse, only to wish you had harnessed that energy instead? Breathwork offers the discipline without repression, the control without fear. It is a practice of presence. It reminds you that the energy is yours, and you decide where it goes. Another powerful variation is called the microcosmic orbit, an ancient Taoist method where you circulate sexual energy through a loop in the body, up the spine, down the front of the body, and back again. While this requires some advanced awareness, even a beginner can begin by simply visualizing the energy rising with each inhale and settling with each exhale. It might sound subtle at first, but over time, you'll start to feel a charge building within you, not as tension, but as stored power. This is what it means to contain and direct your sexual energy, rather than letting it leak through mindless release. Breath becomes your ally, the conductor of your inner current. Are you using your breath consciously throughout the day, or are you often caught in shallow, unconscious rhythms? Just noticing this can bring you back into control. The next time you feel a wave of sexual desire or emotional charge, try stopping for a moment and just breathing with it. Feel it rise, feel it move, and direct it where you want it to go. Breathwork is not about suppression, it's about circulation. It's about realizing that your energy wants to move, but you get to choose how and where. Master your breath, and you begin to master your energy. Once you've begun to cultivate awareness of your sexual energy through breath, the next step is to circulate it consciously through the energetic pathways of your body. One of the most potent and ancient methods to do this is through the practice of the microcosmic orbit, a Taoist technique designed to guide sexual energy upward, nourish your entire being, and transform raw desire into spiritual vitality. In Taoist philosophy, the human body contains energy channels known as meridians, and two of the most vital are the governing vessel, running up the spine, and the conception vessel, running down the front of the body. Together, they form a loop, a circuit, through which you can circulate life force energy, or qi. When sexual energy is consciously guided through this orbit, it is no longer just reproductive force. It becomes creative, healing, and elevating energy. Have you ever felt sexual energy building up, but didn't know what to do with it beyond release? The microcosmic orbit offers another option: to keep that energy, refine it, and use it to awaken deeper parts of yourself. Here's how you begin the practice. 1. Sit comfortably with your spine straight and your body relaxed. Bring your attention to the area just behind your navel. This is your lower dantian, the energetic center where sexual energy is stored. 2. Take a few deep, calming breaths. Then as you inhale, visualize energy rising up your spine, vertebra by vertebra, from the base of the spine, tailbone, through the lower back, mid-back, up to the back of the neck, and reaching the crown of your head. 3. As you exhale, guide the energy down the front of your body, from the forehead, past the throat and heart, down to the solar plexus, navel, and finally returning to the lower dantian. 4. Repeat this circular motion with each breath. Inhale up the spine, exhale down the front. Continue for several minutes, keeping your awareness fully focused on the movement of energy. At first, this visualization may feel subtle, but over time, you may begin to feel warmth, tingling, or a magnetic-like current moving through your body. That's your qi, responding to your focused intention. Why is this orbit so powerful? Because it gives your body an energy field, a closed circuit to process, elevate, and balance sexual energy. Instead of allowing arousal to rise and spill outward into release, it is pulled inward, nourishing your organs, glands, and brain. This enhances vitality, sharpens intuition, and calms the nervous system. Have you noticed that uncontrolled sexual desire often leads to depletion, physically, emotionally, even spiritually? The microcosmic orbit reverses that pattern. It teaches your body that desire is not something to escape, but something to circulate and transform. It reprograms your system to respond differently, to hold power rather than discharge it. This technique also helps balance masculine and feminine energies within the body. The spine represents the yang, active current, while the front of the body holds yin, receptive energy. When you loop them together, you bring harmony to polarities within you, grounding you while expanding your awareness. And here's a deeper truth. Circulating energy in the microcosmic orbit not only transforms your sexual vitality, it also prepares you for higher states of consciousness. Many spiritual traditions speak of Kundalini rising or divine energy awakening through the spine. This technique helps build the container for that awakening so that your system is ready to handle more power without burnout or imbalance. Are you willing to build a relationship with your own energy, to become not just a vessel for desire, but a master of its direction? This practice is not about control through force. It's about guidance through presence. As you continue to use the microcosmic orbit, your sensitivity will increase. You'll begin to sense where energy flows smoothly and where it gets stuck. Over time, blockages begin to release, and the current moves more freely. This is sexual alchemy in motion, turning the lead of base desire into the gold of spiritual power. One of the most transformative steps in sexual energy mastery, and also one of the most misunderstood, is the art of non-ejaculatory for men or non-climactic for all genders practice. In nearly every ancient tradition that works with sexual energy, Taoism, Tantra, certain yogic lineages, the idea of preserving rather than expelling this life force is considered sacred. Why? Because sexual energy is not just physical, it is spiritual fuel, and every release affects your entire system. Have you ever noticed how drained or emotionally flat you feel after a peak sexual release, especially when done without real connection or intention? That's not just coincidence. It's your body signaling that a vital force has been spent. These traditions teach that ejaculation or climax is not the goal of intimacy, but rather a choice. one that should be made consciously, not compulsively. The core idea of this practice is simple. Instead of seeking that final moment of release, you build the energy, circulate it through your body, as in the microcosmic orbit, and allow it to expand rather than explode. This creates a radically different relationship with pleasure, one that is based on depth, presence, and internal cultivation rather than external relief. For men, this means learning to separate orgasm from ejaculation, a skill that can be developed through breathwork, pelvic control, like the use of the PC muscle, and awareness. For women, it often means becoming sensitive to the subtle waves of internal pleasure that arise without needing to reach a peak. Are you open to the idea that the highest pleasure might not come from climax, but from the energy itself? This practice doesn't mean avoiding pleasure, quite the opposite. In fact, when you stop chasing the high of climax, you begin to feel more warmth, more waves, more subtle connection to your own body and your partner. The body enters an extended state of arousal and openness, where sexual energy becomes like a moving meditation. It nourishes you instead of exhausting you. In Taoist texts, this energy is called Jing, your essence, and it's said that with every ejaculation, Jing is lost. When preserved, it can be transmuted into vitality, creativity, and spiritual awareness. Many practitioners even report heightened focus, deeper sleep, emotional balance, and a sense of internal power when engaging in this form of sexual discipline. Could the key to increased energy, creativity, and mental clarity be in how you relate to your sexual release? It's important to understand, this is not suppression. Suppressing your desire leads to frustration and imbalance. This is redirection. It's not about denying your nature, it's about upgrading the way you relate to it. Just as you wouldn't waste gold, why waste this sacred energy without purpose? If you practice with a partner, this technique requires clear communication and mutual intention. It can deepen emotional intimacy and spiritual connection. Eye contact, breath synchronization, and shared energetic awareness become more important than performance. If you're solo, these practices become a gateway to exploring your inner universe, feeling your energy in motion rather than releasing it outward. At first, you may feel challenged, especially if you're used to a pattern of quick release. There may be moments of frustration or strong urges that feel hard to manage. But over time, you'll begin to see, the more you hold, the more you feel. The more you circulate, the more alive you become. Are you willing to let go of short-term gratification in favor of long-term power, connection, and presence? That's the invitation of this technique. It's not about repression, but about transmutation, about choosing depth over discharge, and learning that your sexual energy is not something to release and forget, but something to honor, cultivate, and become. How to transmute sexual energy into creation and purpose. Sexual energy is the raw creative force of the universe. It's the same energy that creates life, and when consciously directed, it can create ideas, art, abundance, focus, and spiritual awakening. But most people let this energy leak or stagnate, unaware of its higher potential. The secret isn't to suppress this power, it's to transmute it. But what does transmutation really mean? It's the process of converting raw sexual energy, often felt in the lower chakras as desire, lust, or tension, into higher vibrational energy that feeds your creativity, intuition, or life purpose. Instead of letting the energy move downward and outward in release, you guide it upward into the heart, the mind, and the soul. Have you ever felt a surge of energy after a powerful, intimate experience and wondered where else that energy could go if it weren't released physically? One of the first keys to sexual transmutation is intention. Without a clear inner directive, energy follows old patterns, usually toward gratification. But when you give your energy a purpose, it begins to serve that purpose. Whether it's writing, building a business, making music, healing, or deepening your inner growth, sexual energy, when charged with intention, becomes your fuel. What do you want your energy to feed? The next step is awareness of arousal, not as a problem, but as an opportunity. Instead of immediately seeking to satisfy it, sit with it, feel it rise, breathe into it, let it build without dispersing. Use your breath to move the sensation up your spine, into your heart, your throat, your third eye. This is where the earlier practices like breathwork and the microcosmic orbit become essential tools. When the energy reaches the heart, it becomes compassion and connection. When it reaches the throat, it becomes authentic expression. And when it flows into the third eye and crown, it becomes intuition, insight, and spiritual vision. Imagine that your body is an alchemical temple. Would you waste the sacred fuel meant for awakening your highest potential? Another powerful tool in transmutation is creative action. Sexual energy wants to move. If you don't express it physically, you must give it another outlet. This is why artists, visionaries, and mystics throughout history often had practices of celibacy or sexual control. Not because they feared sex, but because they understood its potency. Do you have a creative outlet ready to receive your energy? When you feel aroused or full of desire, try this. Instead of indulging or repressing, create something. Pick up a pen, a brush, an instrument. Record your thoughts. Build your vision board. Write your mission. You'll notice that the same pulse that drives desire can fuel your deepest genius. What if the creative breakthrough you've been waiting for is locked behind how you manage your sexual energy? It's also important to remain grounded. Transmuted energy is powerful, but without grounding, it can lead to imbalance or spiritual bypassing. Keep your body connected to the earth. Eat well, move, walk barefoot, stay embodied. Your physical vessel is the container through which this sacred fire flows. Transmutation also deepens your sense of purpose. When you stop using sexual energy solely for momentary pleasure and begin using it as an engine for creation, your entire relationship with life changes. Your body becomes a tool for alignment. Your mind clears. Your soul speaks louder, and your actions begin to reflect your higher mission. Are you willing to use this powerful energy, not just for fleeting moments, but for lasting impact? Can you commit to channeling it toward what your soul truly came here to do? The truth is, sexual energy is not just erotic, it's evolutionary. It holds the codes of your becoming. And when you learn to master it, to refine it, and to offer it to something greater than yourself, you step into a whole new level of power, purpose, and spiritual depth. You were never meant to live with your energy trapped at the base of your being, consumed by urges, scattered by distractions, or lost in habits that drain rather than build. The sacred force within you, your sexual energy, is not a burden to repress, nor a desire to indulge blindly. It is the seed of divinity, waiting to be lifted. Throughout time, ancient traditions have understood this truth. From Taoist alchemy to yogic tantra to mystic Christian and Sufi teachings, all speak of one central message. Your energy is meant to rise. When you allow this force to remain stuck, constantly leaking through mindless release or addictive patterns, you rob yourself of your own evolution. You forget who you are. You forget what you came here to do. But when you begin to consciously work with this current, everything changes. Have you noticed how different you feel when you retain your energy, even for a few days? Your mind sharpens, your focus deepens, your creativity awakens, your presence becomes magnetic. Why? Because you're no longer bleeding your power. You're storing it, building it, refining it, and most importantly, you're giving it direction. This doesn't mean you reject pleasure or intimacy. It means you become sovereign over it. You decide when, where, and how your energy flows. You step into the role of master, not servant. Can you feel the difference between chasing gratification and consciously harnessing your fire to serve your highest calling? Your energy is your birthright. But if you do not respect it, you'll always feel like something is missing. You'll search for energy in people, substances, distractions, while the greatest source is already alive within you. Have you been giving your power away, hoping to feel full, when all along it was yours to contain and elevate? Sexual energy is not just about sex. It is life force. It fuels your voice, your art, your vision, your mission. Every great achievement, every spiritual revelation, every divine act of creation begins with refined, directed energy. And the more you raise it, the more your life becomes an expression of your soul, not your impulse. The path isn't about repression or denial. It's about transcendence. Transcendence doesn't mean escaping your body. It means inhabiting it so fully that your energy can rise naturally. You move from the root to the crown, from survival to expansion, from lust to love, from craving to creation. So ask yourself honestly, where is your energy going every day? What are you feeding with your life force? What would happen if, for the next week, you chose to retain, redirect, and refine your sexual energy toward a project, a goal, or your healing? Are you ready to experience the version of you that emerges when you stop wasting your power? You are not here to live numb, distracted, or drained. You are here to awaken, to activate the full spectrum of who you are, body, mind, and soul in sacred union. And your sexual energy is the key that unlocks it all. Protect it, honor it, elevate it. Your energy is meant to rise,